T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Joe Sports Channel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no backdrop. This is no green screen. Joe Booney is in the bedroom of the co-host, Mr. Tino D'Antonio. Good evening, sir.
I'm wondering why you use the term bedroom. It's not like anything funny.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
You know, give me your handshake. Reality has kicked in.
It's really wonderful having you here. It's been a really nice experience. I think you know your mind and all the beauty that you've seen over the last few days, driving me around crazy to get you here. But you know what? I want you to enjoy the sights. This is what God gave us, and I got to tell you, it's been an absolutely wonderful time with Joe, and I hope we get to do it again, once again, sometime in the near future, probably next year, but during the better weather.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
For sure. And I came at the weather of the hideous time. I use Gordon Ramsay's little saying on Kitchen Nightmare. But there is nothing better, seriously, coming to this beautiful province of British Columbia, the city of Vancouver. Being here with Tino D'Antonio, with his wonderful daughter, wonderful wife, being with the family, seeing all these beautiful homes, it's an expensive city and province, don't get me wrong, but witnessing Canada, this is the beauty of Canada. One of the most beautiful cities I've witnessed. Actually, it is the best city and the most beautiful city. There's nothing better than Vancouver, British Columbia. And really, I don't want to go back to London, Ontario, Canada, but that's where my roots are.
I think so, Joe. It's worthy to see. It's pretty good.
Well, I came here for one of the reasons for your damn sauce. And I got to say.
We did cook the sauce yesterday.
Yeah. And it was better, the leftovers with those beautiful beef ribs. You know? So
it was really good.
We have so much to talk about. We have a wonderful guest backstage.
Absolutely.
So let's welcome in Mr. Johnny B. Good from the great city of Canada, London, Ontario, Canada. Johnny B. Good. Good evening, Johnny.
How you doing, Johnny?
Good. No, I was right. I've been to Vancouver before. It is a beautiful province, and well, BC is a beautiful province. Vancouver is a beautiful city, and I'm thinking, I don't know how much Joe's explored Canada, but there's so much more beauty like that across Canada. But yeah, definitely more so in the West because we don't have the mountain range that do, so you don't see that kind of awesomeness, God's creation. So.
Yeah, for sure, John.
I gotta say, John, when I first came here, I smelt back home like I'm in Lebanon or Syria. The mountains are absolutely beautiful. So when I came here, I felt like I was back in my old country. That's how much I love this province and city. Like, there's so much to do. I came crappy weather, but that's okay. I'll come back in the summertime, but Vancouver alone is beautiful.
Oh, that's BC weather. You kind of get rainy, soggy weather, but not all the time. But
yeah,
I don't know if you're sure, but try the Capilano Bridge or the gondola.
Yeah, the suspension bridge.
Suspension bridge, yeah, that'll be quite an experience. I think. I don't know if you'll get that.
Oddly enough, last year, this time, we had about 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it was brutally cold. The roads were treacherous, and as you probably know, John, that in the city of Vancouver and the underlying mainland, like Port Moody, Burnaby, Richmond, no matter where you go, you've got slopes and downhills, and some of them are really steep. And even just a dusting of snow, and with the humidity coming off the ocean, is absolutely treacherous.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Some of the higher elevations do get some powder and some black ice. So, hey, you know what? I'll take the weather that we've been getting up till now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, it's been pretty good here. We're 10 plus, so nice here in London.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I want to switch gears, and I want to congratulate the Montreal Canadiens on snapping 4+ years getting defeated against the original 6 Boston Bruins. Take me back to last night's game and that beautiful goal in overtime. Canadiens win 3-2 the final. Take the floor, John.
You know, it's a nail biter, and I hate to say, you almost expect the other shoe to drop, but seeing that goal and Cole Caulfield getting it, it's an amazing, right? You see, for so long, Boston's had her number. Boston got your number. So to finally be on the other side of that, it's like, yes, we broke that. So it kind of gives hope that, hey, you know what? It's not always going to be doom and gloom. We are going to have those times where we can upset those bigger teams or powerhouse teams.
I got to say, looking at Montreal this year from last year, they have changed. Cole Caulfield, the goaltending is finally actually put in his A game. Great coach, Martin St. Louis. Love the guy. Played for the Rangers. Most of his career in Tampa Bay. I think this is the right chemistry, and I think this is where Montreal starts playing better, game by game. If you can beat the Boston Bruins in overtime, this team can beat anybody on any given day, like any given Sunday, any given day. And Canadiens, to be honest with you, give them a couple years.
Yeah,
they'll go to the conference finals.
Hey, you know what? I'm just happy to see if they can get to they were so close last year, both them and Ottawa, and they were both right there on the doorstep. A lot of teams. This is where I was kind of hoping they expand the playoff format, but it's going to stay the way it is for now. That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, they are improving, and for the last couple of years they've been in the basement. But it's nice to see the Suzuki's, Cole Caulfield, they're getting the goaltending, they got the coaching right, so they are. Management is making changes to make them better, which is the job of any management. Getting the right guys, the right players, and so that they can get that chemistry and gel. So you're starting to see that happen now. The old problem is a little bit inconsistent, but they are making strides. So it is getting better.
For sure. I do want to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs and last night's wonderful game against the Vancouver Canucks, but I want to talk about the games they've beaten and lost. So I have the schedule actually written down on the piece of paper. So the Leafs on October 11, 2023, beat the Canadiens 6-5. Then they beat the Wild 7-4. And Chicago, they lost to Chicago 4-1. And they lost to the Panthers 3-1. Beat Tampa Bay 4-3, came back. What a great game. They were down 4-1. They came back in the third period. They've been doing that quite a bit lately against the Lightning. They have the Lightning's number and edge. They beat the Washington Capitals 4-1. They beat Dallas 4-1. They lost to Nashville, unfortunately, in overtime 3-2, the final. They lost to LA. LA is a very good hockey team this year. They lost 4-1 at the Scotia Arena.
Yeah, I was going to say, LA and Vegas. I mean, those are the top two teams. Yeah, the Kings are playing lights out right now, so they're one of the top teams.
The Bruins, unfortunately, lost in shootout, and I have a big conversation on the shootout. I think the shootout should be gone completely. They lost 3-2. And then, they lost to Buffalo 6-4. The Bruins are not the Bruins. The Sabres are playing good hockey. They beat, once again, the Lightning. They came back. They lost to the Senators. They beat the Calgary Flames 5-4, and they beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2. I have a question for Tino. You're from Vancouver, and we're in Vancouver.
Yeah.
You watched the the Vancouver Canucks
Mhm.
on a 10-game winning streak, on a roll, playing all these good teams. Yesterday, they fell down the toilet. I want exactly your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks
What?
and where they stand.
Well, Joe, you asked me before the game started. You said, who are you rooting for? I mean, you are a Vancouver uh, um, resident, and I told you clearly, hey, listen, I want Toronto to win. Toronto's my team. Toronto's been my team as far as I can go back to when I started watching black and white TV with my mom, because my dad was always out somewhere. But I remember watching hockey as a kid, black and white television, and Toronto, like Dave Keon. I mean, that's one name for some reason that sticks in my mind. I have trouble remembering the others. You did bring some Gump Worsley, the goalie. The Gumper, right? And so I said to Joe, no, I'm going to go for Toronto. Vancouver, I've never really been fond of Vancouver. I don't know why, but just it wasn't my team.
It's hard to be excited.
And then, given their performance over the last, 5-6 years has just been absolutely pathetic. Pathetic. I won't mention names, but there's a few players that they really rallied here in this city about how great they are and they're going to make a difference and blah, 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 blah. You know what? It was overrated. They're not as good, for me anyway. Great hockey players are, again, I don't want to compare them to some of these guys because these guys are great. I mean, Bobby Orr, that's a great name. Even Gretzky, the great Gretzky, great name. Paul Coffey, David Semenko. Let's give him some right. I mean, he was a brute. He protected his team. Wasn't a great hockey player, but if you messed with one of their star components of the team, he was on your ass. And that's just brass tacks. That's just the way it was. But, I did say to you that Toronto was my number one team. Winnipeg was my second team until, the town or city of Winnipeg just didn't support a hockey club. And they were gone, and then they came back as the Winnipeg Jets.
It was the Atlanta Thrashers at first, and they came back and went back.
Exactly. And my third team, I think, let's see if you can remember what my third pick was in terms of a team. Do you remember?
It was Toronto, Winnipeg, and Edmonton.
Exactly.
You're an Oilers fan.
Yeah. And, I loved the Oilers when they just were unstoppable.
Gretzky and Grant Fuhr and all.
Curry, they had these relentless lines upon lines, and Glenn Sather. I can't say enough about Glenn. I mean, Glenn Sather in the day was a fantastic coach, and that whole team, along with the coaching and general management staff, they really clicked. And sometimes I wondered, did this just happen? The Oilers are down, 5-1, third period, start of the third period, and suddenly it's 5-all in the third period. I almost thought that they would do that purposely so that they could show how good they were, because we only need one period to beat you. Yeah, okay, we slacked off. Yeah, you got 5 goals, and they come back and win it 7-5. Come on. I mean, so many games like that. But I'm glad that Toronto won. They played a damn good game. The speed of the Maple Leafs certainly started to show in the third period. And the Canucks, they just lost fuel. They didn't have the legs. They couldn't keep up.
Well, didn't I tell you?
Yeah, you did.
I said they're going to get weak at the end of second period, and they did, because Toronto kept getting stupid penalties, and those penalties cost the Vancouver Canucks they scored 1 or 2 goals, and after that Second period, third period, Toronto just goes right in there. Nylander, Matthews, Tavares just killed the Vancouver Canucks. It actually looks like the Vancouver Canucks were 2-10, like the San Jose Sharks, not 10-2. I'm not trying to insult any Canuck person out there, but Vancouver Canucks, you've only played two decent teams, actually two great teams. You played the New York Rangers, you beat them 4-3 in overtime, and you just got hammered against the original six Toronto Maple Leafs. Vancouver and all these Canuck fans out there saying, they're going to go all the way, all these arrogant people. Don't talk about my Maple Leafs, because there's a buddy of mine said, the Leafs are going to get their butts kicked against the Vancouver Canucks. I got money on it. I got $150 on it. You know what? I got $150 that the Leafs won, and stop trashing John Tavares. End of story. Yeah. I'm so sick of people disrespecting and dissing John Tavares. Tavares does not need to score every game. Tavares is a leader like a Peyton Manning in the National Football League. This is the guy the Leafs need. He's a veteran, and a veteran leads the team. He's been killing it lately. 7 goals, played wonderful last night, scored last night, plus that beautiful pass. Absolutely. That's a highlight reel for 2023.
And they did have 4 other power plays, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, where the Canucks didn't do squat.
They're on a 5-on-3 and Toronto almost won on the breakaway.
Exactly. And I said, wouldn't that have been the goal and something to talk about tonight? Possibly the year being 5-on-3 and a short-handed goal.
Absolutely.
By the Maple Leafs.
Absolutely.
But it almost happened. It almost happened.
It was a great game. They played well. John, Tino, Joe Booney, Joe Sports Channel, I have a question for you. What is the biggest weakness for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season? And I got to ask you that.
The biggest weakness?
Yeah.
Man, you really put me on the spot.
You want to think about it? I can ask John?
Well, it wouldn't be fair because you asked me first. I mean, do they have a weakness? I think there is a weakness in the defensive area of their play. I think there needs to be a little bit more communication. Somewhere there's something is out of sync there, and they need to work on that. And I think if they can do that and start communicating, in terms of where everybody is, start coming back when the pressure's on. And I've noticed that yesterday, a lot of their forwards were coming back late. It's kind of too late.
Are you talking about the Flames game?
No. I'm talking about last night's game with Toronto. But I think there is a definite weakness in their defense. Hey, you can say anything you want about the Leafs. They're a great team. I think that they are definitely, and I'm willing to put money on it. I'm a gambler. I'm a gambler, Joe. I'm willing to put at least a couple of $250 that they will make the playoffs, that they will not get thrown out in the first round. The second round, they may have a little bit of more competition, but if they get their defense in order and they start communicating, and the players that are, looking for a pass for a possible breakaway, when you're getting hammered in your defensive zones and your defensemen are struggling, you got to come back and you got to fight. You got to come back. I don't know what John might have to add, but let's let John.
I want to ask you, what is the biggest weakness for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season alone? Let's not talk about last season. This season alone.
Well, I would have said goaltending at the beginning of the year. But I give Woll credit. He stepped up, being a young kid. He just got his feet wet a little bit last year. Samsonov been inconsistent. Again, Samsonov is good. Maybe if they use the combination. But I don't think there's any one guy for goaltending. They're both doing good. I think if they do a 60-40 split, they'll be all right. But yeah, the back end, the defense hasn't doing many favors either. I think Klingberg just got sent down because I was watching him a couple of times, and man, he's coughing the puck up in the zone. It's not feeding it right. So again, if they could just find one or two other solid defensemen to go with them, I think that would make all. Along with the goaltending, it's always the back end. That was the same problem Montreal had, the same problem the Oilers. It can go down the list of teams, but it's the defense. and your goaltending, that is your key. That again, you were talking about Vancouver. The best thing Vancouver did, Thatcher Demko. They went out and solidified that. I mean, they did make a coaching change. I love Rick Tocchet, again, a strong, tough defensive guy. I remember he played that way in his time, but again, they solidified the goaltending. They got some, yes, they have goal scorers, but again, the defense. So I think if anything, if the Leafs could improve on, again, defense has been okay, but it's struggled at times when we get down to the third and fourth line. So if they should pick up and add another one or two, at trade deadline, I think that would help them to go a long way. Again, it's not just to get through the season. You want to get to that next level, right? Always defense and goaltending is what gets you to that next level in the playoffs. Like when I look at playoffs,
isn't it safe? But John, isn't it safe to assume, and not to cut you off, that I know that we're hard on goalies sometimes. I mean, just sort of changing gears here really quick, and we'll go back to the Leafs. But Demko made some phenomenal saves last night. And I said, this next 15 minutes, I thought it was going to be a blowout, but I believe that Demko kept them in the game. Yes, the Vancouver Canucks grinded and they fought, but I thought it was going to be a disaster loss for them. I
said 7-2 and you said 9-2.
I said 9-2. But going back to the Leafs, Samsonov. I mean, you got to have key defense. You got to be able to help your defense and not just rely that your goalie, whether you do a 50-50 changeover with another goalie or what have you, you can't just blame the goalie because, hey, look.
Yeah.
Was that John?
Yeah, it's never all alone because I look at Calgary. They changed. They put in Wolf. Great, but I mean, there was times where he's got 2-3 guys in front of him. It's like the goalie can only do so much. So yes, if the goalie can just take care of the main shots, but your defense has got to be there and clean it out. Get rid of those pucks.
Absolutely.
But if they're not giving you the support and helping you and clearing out that in front of the net, I mean, like you said, the goalie can only do so much. But again,
sorry for cutting you off. I agree with you 110%. But I think what Toronto is misleading and getting mistreated is their defenseman is coming back late. Like if you look at Ryan Reeves, was it Ryan Reeves? Is his name Ryan Reeves?
Yeah.
The defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Is it Ryan Reeves? Ryan Reeves?
Well, Reeves is not a defenseman. I thought he was like a fourth line forward.
No, he's a fourth line, but he plays defense as well. He let 3 goals in the net against Calgary. He could have had 1 block shot. The other one, he wasn't paying attention. The third one went off his stick. And this is a guy that is a minus player. But at the same time, I thought this is a guy that will come in, pump up the team, fight the team. This team is for playoffs. That's what I really thought. But this guy's been causing the Leafs the last little while. Like if you saw him against Calgary, that was a hideous game. They benched him. And you know what? Good for Sheldon Keefe. My second thing I want to say is I'm so sick of these Leaf players, and especially the coaching staff, from putting Joseph Wollin and then Sammy Samsonov. People need to understand that these goalies, these defensemen, these top goalies that are making millions and millions of dollars, and I don't want any excuse for anybody, they should at least play 65 games to 75 games. When you keep switching back to Joseph Wollin and Sammy, it screws up the system. You don't remember Jonathan Bernier. You don't remember James Reimer. James Reimer was going on an amazing role. This guy was going to be the next Luongo, even better than Luongo. They screwed him up. What happened? Bernier took over because he was the backup goaltender for the Los Angeles Kings, and he had an amazing start in LA. So they bring him to Toronto on a free agency, and they let him play, and Reimer was out for 2-3 months because he had an injury, came back, played like crap. You got to have a goalie that plays at least 75 games if they're making more than $5 million. I believe that 110%.
Where am I supposed to go?
Let me take a sip of water. Take a breath. Take a breath. It's just, it gets me angry, folks. It really does. Like, they mistreated Luongo for so long. Even Carey
for
Price,
sure.
you know, is a right winger. Yeah, he's a right winger, Rita Miller. But again, he plays defense too. You know, he plays defense too. And congratulations to Nylander, who's playing good hockey.
Interesting that you say he plays defense because I've never seen him play. And if they're putting, it could be that they're using him on defense. But
They're
yeah,
using him.
I would not be putting him on defense. He is
Yeah,
not.
I wouldn't have
He would
that
be.
either.
He'd be a liability on defense.
Yeah.
They are using him and cost him goals. You know, and he's a big guy. He's a big guy. He's what, 6'5"?
Yeah, I mean,
Something like
he was usually used as the enforcer. I mean, that was his role. So to say he's, again, he's kind of more of a fourth line filler, but I don't know. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw. I was surprised when I saw Domi go in after one of his players got nailed last night. That was a massive hit. That was a massive check. And then to see little Domi go in there and just take on this guy, you know, you got to have those enforcers, and it kind of adds a little bit of content to the game. Like, don't mess with our players, whether he's good, whether he's half good. You just don't hit our players the way you're hitting them. And there were some really nasty hits last night. You know, I'm surprised that the person, I forget who it was that did that hit. It doesn't matter, but
I think it's one of the Marlies.
but I think the penalty was called against Toronto on that.
Yeah, there's a new rule going out there too.
For a retaliation.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, that was a pretty dangerous hit. I thought for sure he's going to get called.
Yeah, because
You
his
know?
elbow. That contacted his face.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the officiating last night sucked, in my opinion. I didn't like the officiating. But I'm surprised because it was mostly against the Leafs, and they were playing in Toronto. I don't know, man.
Johnny, I'm gonna let you talk for this one, and I know you're gonna reply with a good comment. Edmonton is struggling as hell. They beat the Seattle Krakens last night 4-1. This morning, turn on to my Facebook, the score, fired head coach. What's going on there? Why would you fire a coach if you just come out off a 4-1 victory?
Yeah, with the Kraken.
With the Kraken.
Yeah, I mean, they're a damn good team, and they've been struggling like crazy.
I don't
was that all
understand. I mean, to me, I wouldn't fire the head coach. I would fire the GM. I mean, you go back to last year. What happened to Edmonton? What was their weakness? Goaltending and defense, right? Mostly goaltending, right? And it's funny, Jack Campbell. Again, he's an okay. He's kind of middle, but he's not your guy that's going to get you through the second and third round of the playoffs. So to me, they should have addressed the goaltending in the offseason. Skinner, again, good, young up and coming kid, kind of like. So Edmonton and Toronto are kind of similar in those. They did nothing, and I said there's so many teams that have two or three. I mean, you look at Vegas; they were 3 or 4 deep in quality goalies. I mean, Jonathan Quick was your third string goalie. Like, hello, MVP. So, why did Vegas win? Goaltending, right? But yeah, Edmonton did nothing to address that problem, and they started the season hoping everything would magically be fine again, and here they are, same problem. Didn't address the goaltending. When Stuart Skinner, and now you're calling up a guy from the farm team, and you're trying to plug holes again. But and Nurse
doesn't work.
But yeah, it's same problem. But again, it's not. Again, you're putting the blame on Woodcroft, and again, so you make the playoffs, you do a great job, and this year, okay, we're struggling out of the gate. We're only 10 games in. You just won, like you said. You played Seattle. You're making adjustments. That's your job as a coach. I didn't even know he was fired, so that's news to me. But I'm thinking, so now you're saying, okay, it's not the GM's fault that we're losing, that we didn't put the right players in there. It's the coach's fault. Well, I don't know. Could be a combination.
It's just funny. They let him play. They get a victory over the Krakens that are 6-1, and they fire him after that, and they won 4-1 the final. Had a great game, and Edmonton's only 8 points or 6 points out of a playoff spot. It's like some of these GMs and some of these franchises, they're not good business people. I think I could do a better business than some of them.
Yeah,
What's that, John?
Yeah, it's a good guy, but I mean, to me, they did nothing in the offseason to fix the problems that they needed coming into the season. So here you got Connor McDavid, you got Dreyfus,
Yeah.
you got all these offensive guys, but you haven't helped them on the back end, and now they're getting toasted by almost every team.
Who knows? Maybe it's a psychological ploy that, hey, yeah, we just beat a team that we know is much better than us, but just for that, we're going to fire somebody. We're going to set an example here, which means if we can fire a coach, we can beat a good team like that, any one of you guys are fireable. I don't know.
Then again, makes no sense for me. To me, it's the GM that didn't do his job. And here you are. Oh, it's not my fault. Oh, we're going to fire the coach. It's his fault. Not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the blame. Yeah. The finger's pointing in the wrong direction, in my opinion.
I got something in terms of setting the example, right? I mean, and we all know what that means in the business world, where we sometimes have to set examples. I got a bit of a beef, and I got to bring it up, and I hope you don't mind, Joe, because I really got to bring this up. Yeah. And I noticed it last night, and I believe the player that was on the commercial was, don't tell me, Matthews. Wasn't it Matthews? Yes. Man, at first it was Gretzky, and now they're using Matthews. And I got to say something. If we were to sit here as adults, there's people that are chatting in the threads here. How many children watch hockey? Think about this. How many young children, young teenagers, and these are children and teenagers that look up to these players. They want to be like them. They want to play hockey, and which is a great thing. My beef is this. When I see commercials during live games, and I'm telling you, this really pisses me off. And you got professional players that are making millions of dollars. Gretzky with this Bet365. Then we got, Matthews with another Bet99. I forget which one that was, but we got professional hockey players that are promoting betting at casinos and online gaming. I really detest that. And I detest it because I've seen young and old people alike ruin their lives from gambling. And when you gamble, the house always wins. And when the house wins, that person suffers big time emotionally and mentally, and they turn to other things that are just not healthy. So when we are airing these hockey matches and there's millions of children and literally tens of thousands of fans that are watching with their kids at these games. I mean, at the game, you don't see the commercials, but at home, we're talking thousands and thousands of children and young people that are watching these games. What are we telling them? What's the message that a professional hockey player, and I love Gretzky. Gretzky, I adore the guy in terms of what he's accomplished. I know he's not a bad guy. Same with, Matthews, McDavid, Crosby. Like, these are guys that are promoting a very dangerous product, in my opinion, from where I'm sitting, and I don't think it should be allowed. I hope that somebody sees this one day, somebody that's got a little bit of, I'm almost tempted to write to Hockey Night in Canada and let them know how I feel. I don't think it's something that we should be doing and using our players that a lot of kids and young adults, young teenagers admire. And now what? We're gonna drop that little, boom, that seed that, hey, maybe gambling is all right. To each their own. We shouldn't be promoting that from a sports level. That's just my opinion. I call it like it is. And I'm sure if our buddy, Don Cherry was around, I don't think he'd approve of it. I really
I
don't.
don't think so either.
I don't think Don Cherry would approve of something like that, and he would call it like it is. And that's just how I feel about Don. In my heart, I know that he would not support something like that. This is a sport that's been around for many decades. It's the Canadian beautiful sport of hockey. And, we found a lot of our children have become these great, addition to the sport. And now all of a sudden, it's okay to gamble. Modern technology has really taken us afar. And I'll say it again, it pisses me off. I don't think it's appropriate. I think it's totally inappropriate to be using our, hockey players with big names, with big salaries, saying that it's okay to bet. That's all I'm going to say.
And I approve this message.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
approve this message, and I think it's totally wrong. But you know what? You know why they're doing it.
I don't give a crap why
They
they're
might not give a
doing
crap,
it.
but they're doing it because
It's
they have that
wrong.
advantage.
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
There's children
is
watching. There's children watching. Okay, we'll try to influence this guy right here. You try and influence me, because at least I got a brain and I know what's right, the difference between right and wrong. And I know that, you're not going to sway me to go to bet 365 or bet 99 or,
It's wrong because
It's just
and
wrong.
you know what's wrong? Kids have these jerseys of Austin Matthews, so they'll go up one day to their parents. Dad, bet. That's so
Well,
wrong.
it's not so much that, Joe. What it is that we're saying that it's okay. And if you're, and we know that there's those little precursors at the bottom, you must be 19 or you must be 18, all of this other stuff. But then you got these young lads going, I'm not going to talk to my mom and dad about this. But, if I can go online, put in a fake ID and play the slots, I mean, that's what we're, I know that's not their intention, but it's wrong. This is hockey. It's a sport. You don't see them doing it in some other sports. And I've noticed now, I think in football, that they're starting to do some kind of advertisement and that. And they probably get a spin-off for, allowing it to be done during the airing of a game. I just think it's wrong.
And I agree. And I bet you John Bruschetto agrees too with the Bet 365. These players are advertising betting out there. Kids look at these players as role models. If you heard the whole conversation that Tina was doing, you want to.
Yeah, I was listening, and like you said, if you look at the commercials, who's on there? Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, and all these other big celebrities, like Tina was saying, and they're promoting this, and then all of a sudden the kid, it was the kid from Ottawa, says, "Hey, maybe I'm gonna play," and they, because it's a hockey player, you're. But again, these are young, influential kids. To me, there's
absolutely, John, and they have a lot of influence.
They're icons. Hey, Connor McDavid's on with MGM. Let me try out this app, right? Maybe, who knows? They're sitting around the hotel room, they're waiting and trying, hey, let's try out these apps. They have better on a couple games. And then the league comes to, you can't be better. So, again, it's a mixed message the league is sending. I get it. Like Joe was saying, it's the money. MGM, big money pumping into, who knows, Vegas and wherever odds. I mean, this is the league. I get it. It's all about the money and the dollars, but it should be about influencing the kids. What's the message you're sending to the next generation of hockey players? It's a mixed message.
Yeah. I mean, I like it when you see commercials with Crosby, for instance. It's a Tim Hortons commercial. Yeah. And he looks over as they're looking at their cards, and they go, "Hey, I got a great saver here." And they look over, and here's this little kid. He's opening up his cards. And, Crosby goes up to the little kid and said, "Hey, are you looking for this card?" You know what I mean? That's kind of, I like that, because it's about the sport. It's about an important card. Yeah, that card could be worth something 20, 30 years from that boy's age, but it's promoting a different type of habit. And call it what you want. I mean, I was a coin collector, I was a stamp collector, I was a hockey card collector.
You're a hockey card collector?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I was. And, and I've given all of my hockey cards and all of my paraphernalia to my grandsons. And like, they're just, whoa, look what grandpa just gave me. This was way before their time. It was when I was their age. So we're talking cards that are 50 years old, that have a value. Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, I don't know. I just really feel for what message we're
putting out there.
We're putting out there, and I think it's a very dangerous thing to do, because there's no control in that. There is absolutely no control, and I will say this: I will be writing a letter to Hockey Night in Canada, basically telling them I totally disagree with this. I think it's just absolutely wrong. You know the message that it delivers, and you know my message to you. It's wrong. And I don't have to say very much more.
And I'll tell you what proves that message, and a lot of people don't like it. I'm starting not to like it. You know what?
Who do you think?
Messaged a lot of people. Gary Bettman.
I was just going to say Gary Bettman.
I would love to bring Gary Bettman on the show. I'd be very, very difficult. That guy, he approves that 100% because that guy is making thousands and millions of dollars on this. Remember, this is a hockey business, and you know what? It's the American dollar. So those guys. Bet365 or Bet369, it's actually going to the States as well. So it's like a sponsorship.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, it's nice when you see
Cindy Crosby or Make-A-Wish Foundation or something like that.
Or a story about Wayne Gretzky that, when his father was alive and they'd have a skating rink at the local lake and they would play hockey as kids, and look where he went, look where he's gone. Those kinds of short little autobiography scripts is what you should be putting out there as short commercials or breaks within the Hockey Night in Canada games to show kids, look at that kid when he was 9 or when he started skating when he was 4, and whether it's Crosby or Bobby Orr in the day. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that in the past. Why aren't we doing more of that and doing some of these autobiographies on the McDavids, the Matthews, and that kind of stuff? Because that promotes hockey. And little tykes, when they see this, and it's not just for guys like the male species, it's for females too. Yeah. There's some phenomenal women skaters out there that play phenomenal hockey for Team Canada. So this is for all genders. You don't have to be a little boy to watch this. Little girls watch these things too, right?
It's totally wrong. Totally wrong. And before we move on, because John has to go, we gotta cut short.
Sorry about that, John.
I want to talk about the commercial when Wayne Gretzky, Matt Sundin, the commercial of McDonald's. They have to go all the way up and shoot the puck in the net. Do you remember those commercials? Those are the commercials. Those are the fun commercials out there.
Yeah.
So the reason I brought that up because you're going from a 1989 commercial to a 2023. It's okay, kids. When you're 18, 19, you can go bet. But we're not actually seeing these Happy Meals, Smile, and seeing these commercials like Matt Sundin and Wayne Gretzky. Just putting it out there, folks.
Incredible what 30 years does.
Yeah.
Right?
John,
yes,
I gotta
sir.
say, congratulations on Brock Purdy and the 49ers finally coming up with a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, Florida, 33-3 final. I didn't watch the game, man. Take me through it and take me through the highlights.
Well, you know what? I thought it was going to be a tight game. I predicted at the beginning, I thought we're going to win. We're going to get back on track. I thought it would be about 28, 20, 21 maybe. So I thought it would be a tight game there. But we needed that week off. I don't know what happened. Some of our guys were injured. We were missing. Again, it should be an excuse. The other guy should step in. But we were just off balance the last few weeks there playing Cincy. The defense wasn't holding. The offense wasn't clicking. I think we just needed that week off to get their mojo back, I guess. But yeah, great, phenomenal game. The defense, I mean, as you know, we added Chase Young, and now we got Bosa and Chase Young. I felt bad for Trevor Lawrence because he had about 1 second to get rid of the ball. Every time he snapped the ball, he stepped back 2 steps. By the time he got set to put his arm up, he was already on the ground. He was crumpled. He had no time to throw the ball. They tried to get to the run game, and the defense just ate him up. So good for the defense, played well. But yes, Brock Purdy got back on track. He got the ball to Debo. He got the ball to Kittle. He got the ball to Ayo. So he got his ball to all. And of course, McCaffrey had a good game. So everybody was back on, and we were clicking the way we were the first few games of the season. So,
as I have the evidence up here, Brock Purdy was 19 for 26, 296 yards with 3 TDs. Christian McCaffrey had 16 carries with 95 yards. And then you got George Kittle, that I think he's the best tight end in the National Football League. I think he's better than, Taylor Swift, little boyfriend going around and all those little concerts. I still love that. Goes for 116 yards, 1 TD. I think if you keep these guys developed in the system of the San Francisco 49ers, I think the 49ers can do anything to win games. I think this team is more dangerous than people expect. I think this is a team that can go all the way to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. I look at Brock Purdy. He's an underrated quarterback. He's young. He makes a lot of mistakes, but the guy can get out of the pocket and throw that damn ball. People say he can't throw. The guy can throw 70 yards on a given day, like they say, any given Sunday. So watch out. San Francisco, they snapped their 3-game losing streak. They're back on roll. You guys beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-3. This is a dangerous team, and they will win the division. And I'm afraid to say, but Seattle is the only opponent in that division that will give you guys a tough time. The rest of the division, hideous. Arizona finally won today with final seconds left. Kyler Murray. That team is hideous, like the Vancouver Canucks. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. But no, I'm just saying San Francisco's a good team, good football team, great football team.
Well, and we're going to get a test. So we're going to kind of get our litmus test. So I kind of said Jacksonville's a warm-up. We get Tampa Bay next to warm-up. Then we're going to be hitting we're going to be getting Seattle back-to-back. Seattle, home and home, and then also the Eagles. So for Brock Purdy, he's got to go back into Philadelphia where he got destroyed last year. So this is a good litmus test. So we needed that week off, kind of regenerate. We got a couple of games here to get Mojo back. Then we're going to see what we're made of heading down the playoff stretch run. But yeah, great win today.
RK from Pittsburgh, good win by the Steelers today.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was great for you and John Laurinaitis, the Packers and the Steelers game. But Steelers again, they just seem to.
Again, Mr. Laurinaitis can go fly a kite, Mr. Laurinaitis. That's been my team today. So Pittsburgh's, they're catching up to Baltimore. Baltimore lost today. An unbelievable comeback by Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. You even look at the Houston Texans. Tino was saying, the Bengals probably just beat them well. I says, no, the Texans beat them 30-27 in the final. Texans are a good football team. I think last year they only had 3 or 4 wins, and they're at 5 wins. They're a good football team. They're actually a wild card team this year, I think.
Well, you see what you had to do. You had to go and get a 49ers coach to come over there. And you got –
Have you noticed that?
So, again, obviously Stroud has made good strides, but again, good defensive coach. But yeah, they're kind of finding the groove. I have to admit, I was surprised they beat Cincinnati because Cincinnati, watching how well they played the 49ers the other week, man, they were just clicking. Burrow was clicking. The run game, the defense was clicking. So to see their defense give up 30 points, that was really surprising. So, but Houston's inconsistent. Carolina, so you're losing to Carolina one week, and then the next week you're beating it. So I think again, it's just finding that consistency.
Yeah, who's been really consistent this year. Excuse you, John. Is the Seattle Seahawks? They won with final minutes left on the clock. They're 6-3. They beat the Washington Commanders. They're a good football team. Geno Smith, he's getting what he deserves. He went for 31 of 47, 369 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 7 receptions, 98 yards. They're a good football team. And people are underestimating Seattle. And you actually underestimated Seattle last year. You said Seattle's nothing to know about. I said, watch out for Seattle. They're a good football team. They made it to the playoffs. They got dismantled against the 49ers, but they still made it to the playoffs. They're good. They're good because they got a good coach. And a good coach will put a good team out there. Pete Carroll, great coach. Anybody doesn't like him, don't like me because I love the guy.
Yeah, no, and then again, of course, they're the rival team in our division. They're good, and we've got 2 back-to-back games with them coming up in the next few weeks, late November, early December. So, and again, the Eagles mixed in there. So we're going to get a real test of where we are in that division and coming down the playoff run. So, I know the Seattle, going into Seattle is always a battle, no matter how good or bad. That one going into Seattle. So we won last year, but it was the first time in a couple of years that we've done that. So Seattle is a tough place to play.
Yeah. No, they are a tough place to play. There's a lot of good football teams this year, and you don't know who's actually going to take off at the end of the year. But we'll see. And right now, actually, the Jets are playing the
Jets
Raiders. And it looks like the Raiders have control of the ball with 1:05 left on the 45 on Las Vegas's field. It's 35. Big stuff for New York coming up if they can do it. Zach Wilson, 21 for 34, 227 yards on the day, 1 interception. Jimmy Garoppolo, looks like that guy is going to be a backup quarterback for the rest of his career.
And again, I mean, of course, we love the guy. He did a decent job. He got us wins. So this guy wins games. He struggled a little bit again, maybe trying to find where he has a new coach coming in. Maybe says, "Hey, I want to see what we got with the young guy." But yeah, Jimmy again, he needed to go from San Fran. We needed to get to that next level. So I was happy with but I still like Jimmy, but again, just inconsistent, right? He'd be super one game, he'd win or pull a game out of the hat, and then the next game, throw 3 picks. But yeah, I think he'll do okay. I mean, he'll come up with some great wins, but he'll I don't know. I mean, the Raiders, I don't think going anywhere fast anytime soon, but they're making strides.
They are. John, it's a pleasure, my friend. We're running out of time, my friend. I can't be more thankful, blessed
Thank
that
you so
you're
much,
back on the
John.
show. Had a great time.
Yeah. How late you going?
I got 8 minutes left. Just cutting short. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me.
Oh, no, I think you can hear us. Can you hear us, John?
No. I think you can hear us. Can you hear us, John? No. You can't. Anyways.
No, I think he can hear us. It's just he's not muted, but he's still there. There he is.
No problem, RK. No problem. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate all the best.
Yeah, we should also thank some of these people like Ian, Bears and Cigars, whoever you are. Rita Miller. I wish you could have come on, Rita. I mean, I was going to ask if you wanted to come on, but it's always a pleasure seeing you here, Rita. Thank you, Daniel, and of course, Gregory, RK, with some of the comments.
I like this one. Okay, this is Johnny Be Good, as Greg is my son, so not sure why his name came up on my list. I do want to thank the wonderful fans. I'm back. I'm in a different place right now, a different province, but I'm still in Canada with this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful individual that I look up to. Great co-host. When I got here, it took me about 15 minutes after, coming out of the airport, seeing this beautiful face. And man, I'll tell you, going on FaceTime, coming here, seeing this guy in person is something that it will kick in for the rest of my life. And I will never take this for granted. It's like going to a hockey game, remembering all those great memories. I'd rather sit beside co-host Tino D'Antonio
Oh,
than spending thousands of dollars watching the Leafs
come on.
getting dominated. No, seriously, this is something that I will never forget. A broadcast that will always be remembered and will always be on the website, on Johnny B. Good's website, on David Carruthers' website, on all the websites out there. This is one of the best broadcasts I've ever had, and I still have what it
I
takes to be
think
a
we've had
broadcaster.
better broadcasts.
Well, now
Come on.
we're in person right now.
Well,
it's
that's
even
true.
better.
That's true.
You know,
but
we've had some
we've
great
had
guests.
some really great
We have.
podcasts, and even with the core of the people that really support
Oh yeah,
this particular broadcast, we've had some really,
We have.
really
We have.
good
we have.
broadcasts. We
We have.
really have.
But it's my favorite because we're next to each
Oh,
other. That's
yeah,
what makes the beauty of it.
What are we
right?
going to eat after this?
I don't know. Are you hungry?
Kind of.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. You want a pizza? I get you another pizza like last time?
No, but we got to get some Napolitan pizza.
That's why I'm throwing the pizza.
Not some of this, I don't know,
7-Eleven or
no, that's 7. You know, when you mix too much food together, it just doesn't taste like you want it to taste. And Joe's one of these guys when he has to order a pizza. And you know, I'm going to throw this out there just in closing because I know we're running short on time. But you know what? This guy spends $95 on 2 pizzas. Okay,
What?
2 pizzas. Okay, throw some wings in there and a 2 liter of root beer. And okay, he,
6 toppings, bro.
wait. It was nice that he did this. But then when I looked at the bill, I went, I won't say what I said, okay?
Holy-
But I said, $95? Are you crazy? I could
We didn't get
have
a-
spent $50. Hey, listen, for $50, I'll get you the best Napolitan pizza right here, 20 minutes from my place. We'll go and pick it up. As a matter of fact, forget about picking it up. Let's go eat it there, and it's nice and warm. And it's the best pizza, the best dough. These guys know what they're doing. I don't know, Joe. I think you spent too much money. But thank you.
Like
Thank
we say to log off this broadcast. Sahho hana, alhamdulillah, enjoy. I paid for it. Just be happy.
That's
You know, and there's still actually 3 slices in the fridge.
I wish Johnny was here with us.
Oh yeah, he's an Italian.
Well, of course he's an Italian. It certainly doesn't look like a Jewish name to me.
No. Breaking news: the Las Vegas Raiders defeat the New York Jets 16-12. The final 4-5, and the Jets both have 4-5 as well. Folks,
I don't know
it's been a
what you
wonderful
think.
time. I love each and every one of you guys. Thanks to Johnny B. Good. Thanks to the beautiful, beautiful, wonderful Booney believers out there. And I gotta say, for closing off,
Rita,
Johnny B. Good, Tino D'Antonio, and Rita Miller, and the rest of you guys are beautiful, sexy pinatas. We love you all.
See you
Thanks for
guys.
listening.
Thank you.
Sports
Thank
Channel.
you, Johnny.